My name is Juren and Poetri. I am Poetri, my best friend, and on March 17th, for those who have read about it or heard about it, Poetri had a stroke, which is why we're here today, because he was the sole caretaker for his wife, Juren, who has MS, and his daughters, who are... There's Journey. Give it up for Journey right there. And we thought it was important to have the community come together and just celebrate what he's done, not in a sad way, because I don't believe it is any kind of sentence for him on behalf of what it is. I feel he's a dope person. He's positive. If you know Poetri, most of y'all do. He's a positive ass person. He's super jolly and like the fucking, nice dude. One thing I will say ahead of time, for those who are Spoken Funk attendees who normally come to Spoken Funk, the only difference tonight compared to Spoken Funk, I curse, so you might hear a shit and fuck from me just because that's kind of how I am. So I'm sorry ahead of time, but that's kind of how it is. And I've known Poetri, for those who know, for 25 years. I met him in '94 when I first moved out here from New York. And the first night I read at an open mic was right down the street at a place called the Juke Joint. Yep. And it was across the street from what used to be George's, which was Denzel and Debbie Allen and someone had a restaurant down there. And I was supposed to go, right? I was supposed to go in there with my brother. And we get in line, I stand in line for like an hour. We get to the front of the line, and the bouncer's like, "Oh, you can't come inside." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You can't wear jeans in the club." And I'm like, "Really?" And my brother's like, "All right, dude, I'll see you later." And went inside and left me. And I was standing outside on Melrose like, what the fuck is going on? So I look across the street and I see this storefront, and I see a poet named D Knowledge, who also who just recently passed away, a couple of years now, had passed away. And I saw him performing, and I had seen him on Showtime at the Apollo, and I read his book, and I was like, oh shit, D Knowledge. And I walked across the street. It was called the Juke Joint, and it was ran by the dude who played Harpo in The Color Purple. Super random ass thing. And I paid my $2 to get in, and the lady who was running it, Ronnie's Backstreet Poetry, was who introduced me to the open mic. And so I went inside, she asked me if I want to get on stage, I said no, and I just watched people tell stories. And Poetri was one of the first people on stage, and at the time, for those who've known him long, he used to have these fucking braids, like these like Venus Serena braids with the fucking beads in them and shit. He had four, right? He had four of them shits through a hat. So he had a snapback and the fucking beads sticking out like this. And he had a poem called Police the Police. And he read that poem, and right when he walked off stage, I was still sitting there just watching people share stories, and Harley Searcy and Jerry Quickly, and there were all these poets. And Ronnie asked me if I wanted to get up again, and right as she asked me that, my brother came in and goes, put his name on the list as Shihan. And so I wound up reading that night, and I read the whole poem with my eyes closed, because I was nervous as fuck, didn't want to forget, and I was just standing there like this, did my poem, and I walked outside. Poetri came up to me, and he was like, yo, that was so great, where are you from? I've never seen you before. And that moment we clicked, and that night I met him and Dante Bosco. And for those who know what the Poetri Lounge, this space we're in right now, those are 3 of the 4 founders of the Poetri Lounge. So I met 2 of the 3 other founders of the lounge that night, on my first night going to open mic, and Poetri was just so welcoming and like, whatever.
You mean of the 5 founders?
Of the 5 founders of the Poetri Lounge. And, for those who don't know, this is Blas Lorenzo, and he was the original DJ.
He was the original DJ of Poetri Lounge, before Brother Janelle. He brought Brother Janelle into the fold.
For those who want to know that side of the story. So there you go. That's why he said 5 founders. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, from that point on, we became super close, and we had done everything together, and we had traveled the world together multiple times as part of the Poetri, and it's just been an amazing thing. So to see him go through this was extremely difficult, and just to give you some updates, D's gonna do the same. I spoke to him yesterday, and he's doing better. He is walking. He said he walks from when he gets dropped off the outpatient to there, and then he can kind of work, but he gets tired, and he says doing speech therapy, occupational therapy for his hands, because he have an issue, because those who don't know, it was the left side of his body that conked out on him, so he's working on that, but he feels super positive, because that's how Poetri is. So he's like, I'm gonna get it together, and so we're here with positive energy and love for him, because he deserves it. He's been an amazing person, and inspiration for a lot of people in the poetry scene, and a great friend. So to start out the night, we're gonna have his amazing sister, D, come up here with the band home and do their thing for y'all. So please put your hands together. Beautiful, y'all.
All right. Hi, everybody. Hey. Hey everybody. So I want to add one thing to what Shihan said about the first night that he met poetry. So our song, this first song that we do is Poetry and Juren's favorite song. I think it's actually Juren's favorite song, and because Juren is Juren, it's now Poetry's favorite song. But it's called Stepping Into My Freedom. And Poetry, probably around that same time that he met him, he came home and we were sharing an apartment, and I was like, you gotta get a job? You don't have a job. I'm paying rent, you gotta get a job. And my mom was like, yeah, you gotta get a job so I don't end up paying for everything. And he goes, I got a job, I'm a poet. And you know, back then we were like, no, you gotta get a job. A job that actually gives you money. And then for those of you that don't know, he went on Def Poetry Jam and Def Poetry on Broadway and everything. And so I was like, okay, all right, you got a job. I guess you got a job. And it made me look better because I was an actor, so my mom didn't look at me quite as crazy. But yes, like he said, he's doing a lot better. And this set is dedicated to them, and some of the songs kind of follow us as a family, like our thoughts and our journey through this as we watched him go through that, because like he said, if you know poetry, he's everywhere and all over the place and big and loud, and to see him in a bed, not being able to move, not being able to speak, which is what he does, and something that used to annoy me that now I love, it was just really, really hard. So he's doing much better. He's super positive. The doctors have given him, they're like, he will get, from day one, they said he will get everything back that he lost. They had no doubt. They said it will just take a little bit of time. And for us, like, there was a time when it was like, okay, God, what the heck are you doing? But as I've watched this process, poetry, for those of you that don't know, was driving a car when it happened. He hit a car, he hit a wall, he hit a garbage can. There was minimal damage to his car. His family was in the car. The kids were not gonna go to this show that they were at, and thank God that they decided to go, because had it just been Juren and Poetri, they would not have been able to stop the car. Genesis is the one, his oldest daughter, who actually ended up stopping the car for us to get the paramedics. And when he got to the hospital, by the grace of God, even though he remembers nothing about the first like 2 or 3 days, he knew who we were. So when we walked in the room, he was reaching hands and calling names, so he knew who we were. So yeah, so he's doing good, and thank you, God, he's gonna be great. His family's doing good, and thank you for our family. And Poetry, if you're watching this streaming, I love you.
But I know one day the pain
At Welcome Home the Band with IG. Welcome Home. At Welcome Home the Band at IG, right?
WelcomeHomeTheBand.com.
There you go. Welcome Home the Band.com. Give it up for D one more time. Give it up for Welcome Home. So because we started late, we're gonna run this show. We're gonna get this thing moving. So please put your hands together for your first poet of the night. Give it up for the smooth one, y'all. Give it up for the smooth one.
I scraped the remnants of him off the sidewalk just before the chalk outline was drawn. And on the end of my extended hand was my understanding. I let him know that I too was him once upon a time, and my time was so short, it was being kept on a stopwatch. As I knelt and watched him take slow, careful breaths, the heaving of his chest suggests he thinks this is it, so he's ready to quit. Now, how do I tell him to hold on and be strong when I know for a fact that the road ahead is twice as rough as it is long? What am I supposed to tell him? What am I supposed to say? Just hold on anyway and pray daily for it to be a good day? I need to try to explain to him why he's under attack, why he was born with a target on his chest and his back. I need to get him this handbook on how to prevent being convicted for walking or driving while black. Got to get him to understand that, contrary to popular belief, life is not all about stacking racks. There's more to it than that. How do I explain this fixed deck that he was born playing against? And how do I not wince thinking about the shit I myself had to deal with? Because this life is sometimes a bitter pill to swallow, unless you chase it with Old E or Hennessy. But I told him to just walk the straight and narrow. And don't worry about the bows and arrows that you see the narrow-minded armed with. Keep your eye on that officer's nightstick and that Glock that he may mistakenly shoot you with. I told him to take off running and hit a fence if they tell you to freeze. Yeah, you'll probably get a resisting arrest charge, but hey, it beats a chokehold and you trying to tell him you can't breathe. Now, what do I tell him to do when the ones he's supposed to run to for protection are the same ones he needs to stay away from for self-preservation? Because clearly nowadays, hands raised high in the sky with empty palms is somehow still seen as threatening. Our ancestors are the pioneers in the construction of this great nation. But this younger generation is looking like the ones who will be responsible for the destruction of all creation. At least that's the way it looks in their eyes. Young black lives mean absolutely nothing to them. Just a bunch of young dead niggas they got to before they were able to become grown men. Don't believe me? Go down to Miami and ask the parents of Trayvon Martin. Check your history books. Read up on Emmett Till and see why he was killed. Look how they gunned Mike Brown down. Look what they did to our sister Sandra Bland, man. Then, CNN chose to compare clear broken windows to a broken gray back under a blanket of police brutality against our young blacks. But ultimately, I just told him to keep his nose clean. Told him to stay out of trouble and listen to his mother. I said, stay on the path that God has laid out for you. Stand pat. Told him to keep that hoodie off his head and let it rest firmly on his upper back. Because life moves fast sometimes. You never know. But even when it moves slow, you still need your vision clear in case you need to get up and suddenly go. But I don't know. Are there really any words of wisdom that I can spit to him to prepare him for this war called life that he's already entered in? I know I never received any, and I've had conversations aplenty. I'm just hoping the Almighty grants me some type of clarity so that I can suggest some type of remedy. Otherwise, what am I supposed to tell him? I mean, really, what am I supposed to say? Poetry, hope you get better soon. We love you. Next poet up, please give it up for Andrew Tyree.
What's up, everybody? Y'all good? Y'all good? Yeah. Just wanted to give a whole bunch of love and light to poetry and the family, man. Like I remember when I first moved down here from New York, I was super used to like the New York poetry scene, not so used to the LA poetry scene. And he was like the first smiling face I saw. LA poets are mean. Like, I don't know if you know, but like, you'll see Rudy later. He's super mean. Rudy, did you hear me? Oh, you right there? Oh, damn. I didn't know he was he was outside. My bad. Rudy's great. You guys will love Rudy. So yeah, I did spoken funk, like one of the first shows I did in LA. And that was when it was at Miyagi's. It was a long time ago. Yeah. So I mean, okay, that's how long ago it was. Like I went to the bar to like order drinks at Miyagi's, and I was ordering like Mai Tais and like because I didn't know any better. Like that was the alcohol that I understood. Pour a lot of liquors in there. This is for the good guys. For the never do you wrong guys. For the never lay a hand on you, always on time, said he'll be there at 8:58 East Park in the car, guys. Yeah, this is for the straight shooter. For the one who would never cheat on his girl, who's a real man, and real men know that for quantity just doesn't do it. But y'all don't want us. It is for the unintentional motivator, ready to impart inspiration into his mornings, for the ones who never bless with game, just the truth, it's all the mamas ever taught. For the ones who cannot afford to take you jet skiing and know now you know there'll be no fancy dinners every weekend, for the ones without the big rims or the big cars. All we have are big dreams, good plans, and real jobs. And this is for the ones who encourage you to go to church with them every Sunday, and you'll never be afraid to take them home for the holidays, for the ones who don't come up well because we're always just well cleaned up, and for the ones who think that Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, and Dead Presidents were all really, really great movies, just not really the ways to live. So this is for the good guys. For the never do you wrong guys. For the never lay a hand on you, always on time, so he'll be there at 8:58 East Park in the car, guys, and this is for the straight shooter, for the one who never chose girls, is a real man, and real men of the quantity just doesn't do it, but y'all don't want it. And this is for the good guys. My ex-girlfriend once told me we're always either married, broke, or gay. I told her she was a lie. And if she was telling the truth, and it hasn't always been that way, you just never paid the scrubs any attention. Because you keep your thug, and the time is right, you just kind of host as an invention. No, I know, you got caught up listening to Destiny and her children till you know you need a soldier to be happy. And so the good guys like me, the only way to get a beautiful woman like you is to sag our pants, buy a fitted cat, and a pit bull. And I don't even like pit bulls. What they never told you in the video is that when not properly trained, soldiers and pit bulls are only trained to kill. But the death of everything beautiful in you at the birth of the bitter woman you become, and now you're looking at me like you don't know what happened. We should have paid attention to the dude who didn't always know what was happening. So here's the cat whose pants always fit. Who made a vow at 19 never to have the big long white t-shirt dresses in his closet. And here's the cat who really values marriage, who believes that wedding bands and wedding vows are more than just jewelry and poetry, and who will love you all the time even when he doesn't feel like it. Even if you don't deserve it. Even for whatever reason you just don't feel like working extra hard to earn it. Even for the fourth day of the road is raining and you forgot your umbrella and I want him to give you his. It don't matter, they just got over a cold because you just got your hair done. It's a true story. We're not together. He don't love you all the time anyway, even though he doesn't feel like it. The guy spends time with his sons because that's his blood. And spends time with his daughters and nieces just to show them the way real men should treat them. So this is for the good guys. For the never do you wrong, guys. For the never lay a hand on you, always on time. Said to be there at 8:58 East Park in the car, guys. Yeah, this is for the straight shooter. For the one who never chose his girls, is a real man, a real man of quantity just doesn't do it. So the next time a guy comes up to you and says, hey, babe, I'm not like them, I'm kind of different. Ladies, be careful because it's probably just game. But just for a second, assume it's not. Look him dead in his eye, see if they look a little like mine. Or Rudy's. Rudy has very nice eyes. It might be the last time you ever have to give your number out. You might end up with a good guy. One of my dreams ever since I came to LA was
here. Now I kind of get to. This is as close to that dream as probably ever going to get. So please put your hands together for one of my favorite poets, Mr. Steve Collins.
One time, Andrew. It's an honor to be back here. It's been too long, and yet the lounge is with me wherever I go. The trajectory of my life literally changed coming here every Tuesday night for about 2 years solid. The poets, the people that I met, changed my life, changed my heart. Sekou and Q, Shihan, all of them. So, and poetry was the first, in terms of, Shihan. Shihan was like, yeah, if you're still here in 6 months, I'll learn your name. But poetry, I gotta go, Steve. Steve, is it? Okay. But poetry was, he's the beating heart and the smile of the poetry community, and he immediately embraced me, made me feel safe and warm, and possibly is why I kept coming back.
Is that vodka?
What's that?
Is that vodka? What is it?
It is, straight vodka. It's whatever it takes to get through some nights. Juren requested this poem, and when I heard what happened, I know if anybody can get through a poetry can. I'm gonna try to get this higher, but I've never used a microphone before. Am I doing it right? That was perfect. That didn't help. I told you, baby. Okay, so this poem, Juren requested. See, it ain't spoken fun, right? This poem, Juren requested, and she asked for it, so it's an honor to do it. This is the first poem I ever wrote for the first friend of mine that ever got married asked me to write a poem, and I was struggling to figure out what love is, and for me, it meant forever love is all sides of it. And I don't know if Juren remembered this part of it when she asked for it, but there's a part in it where it talks about forever means things like why we're here, sickness. And so that was on my mind as I read it, and it's on my mind now, and it talks about learning to hear what it sounds like when someone breathes from fear, with fear on their lungs. And Juren and Poetri have had fearful breathing over the last few days and weeks, and I think it's nights like tonight where we show up and remind them that they're not alone. At nights and times like this, their family is bigger and broader than maybe even they know. And so, Poetri and Juren, if you're watching, I love you, and this poem's for you. This she, this it, this unexplainable, this always present, this love, this red paint of fences, is it? Right? Not the thing itself, right? But how we see it, right? How we know it to look, the skin, the surface, the red paint. And if we were ever able to get underneath the paint, how would love look then? Right? Because now love looks like walking at night, holding hands with warm breezes. Love looks like walking through furniture stores and pretending we'll have one of those. We'll have two. You'll have a job. Love looks like walking down aisles with shoes off, because what's the point of walking on rose petals if they don't touch your skin, and shoes slow your feet down and you want to move. You want to move down aisles. To me, a man so committed to your pleasure that I have spoke to the landscaper for the house we can't afford yet. And it will have roses, right, that we will plant together because forever takes growth. And our lawn will have sprinklers, right? Because every happy family I know has got at least one photo of that naked baby in the sprinklers, and forever takes discovery and forever takes joy. And there will be fruit trees. Right? Because forever takes nourishment, right? And under one tree, the plum, we will bury our first cat, Jack. Yeah, because forever means getting through some sadness, right? But under the other, the orange
we will bury a roadmap together because forever means believing as long as we have each other, we will never be lost. This is what love looks like. Love looks like being naked with you all of the time. All of the time naked, right? Because, and not just because you gotta let me, I own half the house. No, but because something about the way you look at me and I feel beautiful, and you are the only one of you I have, and it seems a shame to cover most of you up, so take your clothes off and let me look at you, damn it. I love you. And love looks like 3 years. Before we loved, you fed me fruit casually, and your finger rested on my lip as I took a piece of melon in my mouth, and I could not get your touch out of my mind. And I don't like melon so much. So I don't know why I took it, except now I know, because it's you. And I don't try not to think about you anymore, and I still don't like melon so much, but I eat it now hungrily and remember, and not always pretty, right? Not always nice, like stub my toe, and really bad day, the dirty other side of how a love is. You know, the raw, the work, the ugly heart of loving, like up all night because you found a lump. And we don't speak much, but we don't sleep either. And I learned that real love means it happens to both of us, and it takes you 7 seconds to exhale completely when you're scared, like night feedings. The towels you don't pick up. Why don't you pick up? They're not that much heavier when they're wet. Just pick up the towels like night feedings. Eating meals silently and blame. You said you would be here. Well, why didn't you call like the red eye home from Texas? Because something happened to Dad, or I cannot sleep without your smell near, like I miss you so much. Like, isn't it amazing that our hearts speak vows to love you each day stronger than I do right now? And isn't it lucky, just your love and God, see you get more perfect as you get more flawed, and that's not hard. Because it's not love like what I do love. It's love like what I don't do love. It's love me anyway love, in spite of everything love. This is love, like not the movement, but the why I move love, which means I don't need to move love, because the why of why I love you, it isn't going anywhere because it's not red paint, but fence love. It's not skin, but skeleton love. It's underneath love, not me, but who I am. And even I don't all the way got to figure out who I am, love, but every day says you want to know more, and you are the only one of you I have, and it seems a shame to cover most of you up. So take your skin off and let me look at you, damn it. I love you, and I want the bones and the spit and the building blocks of love, so we could build us up forever and climb inside and make love and make babies and make me eat melon to make damn sure we never forget that the second we met, we went 6 years into the future to make you my best friend, 10 years into the future to make you my wife, 16 years into the future to the house we haven't even bought yet. We buried this roadmap under the orange tree in the back, because as long as I have you, I will never be lost, and forever means I promise. Maybe when you strip back the paint and you expose the bones, that is all love is underneath. A promise that come whatever comes, I will be right there. I promise.
Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Louis Francisco is up next to me.
Yo, what's good? How we doing? That was like 4 people. What's good? How we doing? Yo, y'all are a real quiet audience, right? So just to let you know, just because you listen to poetry doesn't mean that you gotta be completely silent. Like you can snap your fingers, try together. We can snap our fingers, right? That's a little old school. Love Jones. If you want to do that, that's fine, right? You can respond vocally. You can say ooh. Let's try it together. Ooh. Ooh. You say what? What? You say let's go. Let's go. You can also go like amen, hallelujah, Jesus take the wheel, we kill him, turn up. That's our best friend. Facts. You know what I mean? Whatever. All right, let's have a good time. Are we ready? Yeah. All right. So when I first got into poetry, Me and a few of my friends, we found out that Juren and Poetri hosted the Poetry Lounge every Tuesday. So we make the drive up, because I live in San Diego. So we make the drive up, and we're sitting in line, and Poetri, he's just walking down the line, talking to people, you know, and like he walked up to me, and he said, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, and I was like shook, you know, and I was like, "Oh, I'm good." He was like, "Oh, what's your name?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm Rudy," you know, and he sat there and he talked to me. He had no idea who I was, and I told myself, like, if I ever get to that level, right, that's the kind of artist that I want to be. So thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
And the article says, the Mexican government confiscates approximately 30,000 illegal firearms per year. When the guns are taken, they get dismantled and the metal is used to make other types of weapons that will later be utilized by their military. In 2012, Pedro Reyes, an artist from Mexico City, convinced his government to donate the guns to him. And he turned them into musical instruments. So somewhere there's a tambourine, a drum set, a guitar, all made out of things that were used to take people's lives, but now they create a sound that puts life back into people's bodies, which is to say, a weapon will always be a weapon, but we choose how we fight the war. And from this I learned that even the most destructive instruments can still create a melody worth dancing to, and sometimes don't we also call that a battle? I wonder how long it took to convince the first rifle that it can hold a note instead of a bullet, but still fire into a crowd and make everyone move. When I was 6, I was taught how to throw a punch. In the 80s, that was the anti-bullying movement. The first time one of my classmates took a yo mama joke a little too far, I remembered my training, so I turned his nose into a fountain, my fist 5 pennies, I closed my eyes, I made a wish, I came home with bloody knuckles, and it was the first piece of artwork my family hung on the fridge. I remember staring at my hands the same way you stare at a test when all your answers are correct. I didn't know what class this was, but I did know I was passing, and isn't that what masculinity has become? A bunch of dudes afraid of their own feelings, terrified of any emotion other than anger, constantly yelling at the shadows on the wall, but still haven't realized that we're the ones standing in front of the light. We learn how to dodge a jab. We learn how to step in before we swing. We learn the heart is the same size as the fist, but we keep forgetting they don't have the same functions. We keep telling each other to man up when we don't know what the hell that even means. We turn our boys into bayonets. We point them in the wrong direction. We pull their triggers, and then we ignore all the damage they're doing in the distance. The word repurpose means to take an object and give it amnesia. It means to make something forget what it's been trained to do so you can use it for a better reason. I am learning that this body is not a shotgun. I am learning that this body is not a pistol. I am learning that a man is not defined by what he can destroy. I am learning that a person who only knows how to fight can only communicate in violence, and that shouldn't be anyone's first language. I'm learning the difference between a garden and a graveyard is only what you choose to put in the ground. See, once I came across a picture of a strange-looking violin. The captain said that it was made out of a rifle. And I thought to myself, you know, someday that could be me. Thank you. Can we give a huge welcome to Evan Lionel?
Y'all got the bougiest claps in the world. What's up? Can y'all clap for real? Is this? It's just weird the little bougie claps y'all giving in this area right here. I'm from the south side of Chicago, so when he was talking about guns and violence, that's what I was raised in. And when I came here, it was like, don't go to Compton, don't go to Compton. Compton was the first place I went. And they had grass and trees. I'm like, y'all got grass and trees, and then I wonder, how you against gangster with a fruit tree in your yard. You can sell that fruit. What is going on? I don't understand all the weird stuff in Hollywood. I don't understand. I had a rough upbringing. It wasn't nice like y'all kids. Y'all don't understand what rough is. I didn't have a father. So when I think about poetry, I think about he's the last of the great fathers in this world. So clap your hands for that. We ain't got a lot of strong fathers. Poetry, you're a strong father. We love you. I always wanted a father like poetry. I didn't have a dad. And who had a father? Anybody clap your hands? Look at how spoiled y'all are. You sit right next to your dad. How wonderful is that? They don't understand what it's like to sit in the window all day, just waiting on your father to show up, and your brother father show up. Oh, that was too hard for y'all. Too real for LA. I'm sorry, that was too painful. You be in the window like, hey dog, tell your daddy, can I go with y'all? Please don't leave me in here with her. She crazy. Come on, man. People don't understand what it's like when you're raised by a single mom. We got any single moms in the house? Single moms? Yeah, single moms always mad. Because you look like your father. A lot of people don't understand the abuse. You be abused when you got a single mom. Y'all don't know what abuse is. You ever been kicked into the stove and a hot dog water fell on you? Oh, that's too painful. That's too much for y'all. Too real. My story too real for y'all. My mom didn't even care. Pick up the hot dog and put it back on the stove. And shut up that crying before I give you something to cry about. You mean the boiling hot water? Wasn't something to cry about? That's how rough it was growing up in a household. A lot of people don't understand the realness of having a mother and a father. They belong together in this world. I wish we would get together, men and women. How many folks in here married? Clap your hands if you're married. Beautiful. And they talking about love. Steve was talking about love. And Steve took his shoes off. I knew he wasn't that tall. Did you see him when he took his shoes off and walked? He was 2 feet shorter. Oh, that was just me. Y'all didn't notice that. I'm telling you right now, men and women need to get together so we can raise our kids properly. You know what I'm saying? Kids now are soft, super soft. We raising a bunch of soft kids. We don't even let them walk to school by themselves. How many of y'all drive your kids to school? Clap your hands. Look at this. Spoiling them. We walk to school. All of us walk to school. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. Through all the rough streets, didn't we? We walked right past the molester. We didn't care. We'd be like, there go Chester right there. Get that brick for me. Give me that brick. He coming this way. Run! Chester have on a trench coat.
Oh my God.
That was our childhood, man. But we made it. You see, we grown now. Why are we spoiling our kids like this? Giving them cell phones. How you buying a $1,600 iPhone for an 8-year-old? That's ridiculous. You can't even get in the iPhone. You gotta ask him to unlock it. You paying $200 a month. Unlock this so I can see what you've been doing. Well, he gonna let you know what he's been doing. It's like kids nowadays don't understand how spoiled they are. When you growing up with a cell phone, when I was your age, we didn't have our own phone. It was 2 phones at the house. 2. A big giant yellow phone on the kitchen wall with a long cord that we walked all through the house to talk about. A long cord, trust me. And that cord was what our mom used to choke us with. And y'all too, I knew y'all I was abused too. I knew it. That's why we need couples, and we couldn't get calls after 9 o'clock. Y'all was texting and everything in the middle of the night. We couldn't get calls at our house after 9 o'clock. You call our house after 9 o'clock, my mom killing everybody. So I used to tell the girls, if you call after 9, let it ring a little tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. If I don't answer it, hang up. And they call. As soon as they call, I pick it up. Hello, hello. Hey, girl. She like, your mom sleep? My mom be on the cordless. I'm up. So girl, don't you call my house this time of night. Put your mom on the phone. I'm killing everybody over. Last thing why it's important to have a husband and a wife team like Poetri and Juren. My mom walked through the house gangsting us 24 hours a day. A lot of y'all think you can call DCFS, you know, you threatening your parents with the police and all that. Police get called on the parents, come to the door, the parents scared of the police. My mom wished we would call the police. She used to be walking through the house just like this. Who want to call the police on me? These are breasts right here. Who want to call? She had the pointy bras, you know, where it looked like poles right there. Who want to call the police on me? Now they down here. They relaxed. I wish you would call the police on me. I wish you would. I bet I'll kill everybody before they get here. Give me the phone. There's the 911. Push the 1 if you're bad. I bet I'll kill everybody before they get here. Push the 1. I don't care you 3. I bet I'll kill everybody. My mom was rough. My mom was rough. The last thing I gotta say, with all of us here, you know, my lady called me, she said it was really packed, and, you know, and couldn't nobody else get in here. And I was so happy to hear that. That means that everybody in here, if y'all give and spread the word about the GoFundMe that they have for Poetri and Juren and the Cash App, that they will be helped. But a stroke is long term, y'all. So a few little dollars ain't gonna help them. We need to pour into their lives like they've poured into ours for years and years and years with great entertainment. So I'm asking everybody to be real and don't just be here because all of us entertainers. Like I'm from Def Comedy Jam, Sekou, Steve, and all the rest of them, Rudy, they from Def Poetri Jam, but we're like family, all of us, and we're all here to help them, you know? And I was thinking, if Terrence Howard was to talk to Poetri now, what would he say? You know, hey, man. Hey, man, look at you, man. Hey, man, where Cookie at, man? Get in here, man. We gotta help them, man. And what I'm saying to y'all, it's time to help them out. On the real, it's time to help them because they've always been there for us. My name is Evan Lionel. I'm the most unusual comedian in Hollywood because I talk about my real life. Everything I say on stage is real and it's true. Thank y'all for the laughter, but please give to this particular occasion. GoFundMe, Cash App, give some money tonight. God bless all of y'all. Evan Lionel, I appreciate the love.
Yo, give it up one more time for Evan Lionel, y'all. Good cooking and seed pound. We had the smooth one. We had Andrew Tyree. But we're gonna keep it moving. So coming up to the stage, give it up for Evie, y'all. Give it up for Evie. We're gonna move. We're gonna keep moving. I'll talk more about it later.
How you guys doing? I remember when I first came to the Poetry Lounge, I was really scared. I worked in Caltech. I've been writing all my life, having 4,000 pieces. I was showing this guy at work. He goes, you really need to go to the lounge. And the one thing that I really appreciated, because I was really nervous when I first came up here, is how warm Poetri was. But the thing I love about Poetri the most is the way he loves his wife. I mean, to have a love like that, that's an eternal love. That's when you love somebody's soul. And it's just a beautiful thing to see, and that's one of the reasons why I love the both of them so much. So I'm gonna do this piece real quick. It's called Makeup. So y'all just work with me. I'm a little nervous. Haven't done this for a while, but we're gonna roll with it. Y'all ready? By the way, when I first started coming here, my daughter was 11. She just turned 30 about 2 weeks. So I have 6 children and 3 grandchildren. You say I cover up the Revlon of my beauty because I've been pimped out by Mac using Estee Lauder's prescriptives to hide my true self. But judging by your uneducated statement, I'd say you are the one that needs the help. What made you think my self-esteem would be so low that I would need Clinique's liners or L'Oreal shadows to camouflage my life's woes? Can't you see I'm more than just a pretty set of eyes, and I don't need makeup to hide behind? See, we are all spirits bound in material flesh wearing some sort of disguise. Yeah, you may not wear makeup, your item may be shoes. Or is it the jeans you wear to disguise your life's blues? Are you a material whore designer freak? Tell me, who or what do you take refuge in to hide your insecurities? Do you like to talk about others and find ways to put them down so you don't have to look in the mirror and face your own reflection? Using tools of humiliation so you don't have to deal with your own rejection. See, makeup is an ancient tool for me to use creatively. I dress makeup, makeup don't dress me. I know what I am and I know whose I be. You see, the tools that we use were found in our ancestors' graves a long time ago. Obviously a part of history that you didn't know of. Yes, pulled up out of the graves in the Valley of the Kings, but what Discovery Channel don't tell you is they found more than jewelry and wedding rings. See, they found mirrors, tweezers, eyeliners, eyeshadows, lipsticks, blushes, and brushes, all for the art of painting the body and face. Notice I said art. So why should I allow you to pick me apart by making antiquity a disgrace? So stop making fallible judgments and just let a sister be. Realize that makeup don't make me. And whether I choose to wear my hair long, short, natural, curly, wavy, or straight, don't make me a sellout nor perpetrate self-hate. You see, I change my appearance because I know I can. I'm more than just a woman, I'm an ever-changing chameleon. Using the tools and knowledge of those that came before me and you. And if you took some time to talk to me, maybe you could learn something too. And yes, I like to exfoliate, use masks, get massages, and scrub. My skin's as soft as a baby's ass, compliments a dove. So don't let my made-up face or growing skin fool you. I do what I do out of pleasure, surrounded by self-love, and damn it just feels good. Maybe you should try it too.
How's everybody doing? Good?
Yeah.
Can you make some more noise? Are you guys good? So I won't say too much at the beginning, just that I love poetry and Juren with all of my heart. And I started out at the Poetry Lounge when it was on Cahuenga. And I remember going in, and as everybody has already told these stories, the grace and the humor and the openness of poetry. He literally hugged every single person that he saw. And he made me feel comfortable. And I just continued to come back over and over again. So this space that we're all in was like, our artistic college, I think, for many of us. And my mom used to have this saying, basically it was like, you don't know how you impact other people. You can have a conversation with them and you can say something and they walk away and you have no idea how that actually ripples into their lives. And this space has had unquantifiable ripples. And the heart of it is poetry. And so, I just want to say, we love you. Every single person in this room loves you, and you're here with us. It's called home. I want to buy a house where I can make memories in every room. Plant a garden in my backyard and watch the flowers bloom. It will be big, but not so big that one would get lost. It will be nice, but not so nice that everybody whispers, what it cost? It will have gorgeous views, but being higher doesn't mean superior. I've learned not to judge a house by what's on the exterior, it's what's on the interior, and I don't mean design, because a house is not a home unless the people are aligned. Everybody put one hand in the sky like this. Snap it out.
I used to want a mansion because I thought that'd bring me joy. I went and bought a lot of shit that I had no time to enjoy. I was working for a living, but it wasn't working because I wasn't living. And a life without living is unfulfilling, filling up the empty space with all the things that I was getting, yet I could never get enough or give enough to be enough. And that was constantly upsetting. Our value is a funny thing. Is it something that we own? Or is it something that we can bring? Experiences are priceless, and that doesn't cost a thing, because once you make your minds up, you can accomplish anything, even if it seemed impossible. Impossible is possible. We take for granted that defying gravity is illogical. Intend what you desire, and your will be unstoppable. You could buy an island with a climate that is tropical, or fly your helicopter off the coast of the Galapagos while eating avocado toast. That's an LA joke. But even if I was flat broke, I wouldn't rely on hope, because hope can be despair in disguise. So instead, we decide and we watch as reality realigns. After all, what is time if it's different in a different place? We're all in one place, floating out in outer space. They'll never bottle time. You can't buy anymore. And if you could, it'd be sold out at every corner store. So lately I've been thinking, what if less is really more? If my mortality is what I'm really living? I want to slide the socks across the tile marble floor. I want imported art to fill up every corridor. I want my kids to use my bed like it's their trampoline. To walk on top of my couch like it's their balance beam. I want to use my things so they aren't using me. After all, the most important things in life are free. Free? I did a show once and this woman was like, me. I was like, you don't understand the poem, do you? We only borrow time. We only borrow. But you can borrow mine. My house is your house. Stay over anytime. If you're a friend, you'll have a permanent vacancy. Community is what our culture is lacking. We pretend that we're connected, but mostly it's just unscripted acting. We isolate ourselves and hide from our emotions and pack our schedules as an excuse to stay in motion. I'm living by the beach and yet I never see the ocean because it's always out of reach in the midst of my commotion. God forbid I'd have to sit alone without distraction. It's hard to notice thoughts if I'm constantly in action. No matter what your status is, that isn't satisfaction. So I don't care what you do. I care that you're doing it with passion. That's why we all should share our gifts and cultivate compassion. Because the fastest way to bliss is through a meaningful interaction. And since I'm not even sure that we exist, I've started asking if this world of form is merely the illusion of attachment. If I could let it all go, my roof would be the stars. My floor would be the earth. My doors would be the joy. My walls would be the wind. My seat would be a stone. My bed would be the clouds, and my heart would be my home. But since I have a family and I don't live this life alone, I'm gonna buy a house where I can make memories in every room. Thank you. So we want to keep the love. Everybody give a huge, huge round of applause. This is an amazing, amazing comedian. He goes by Ron G. Show him a lot of love, everybody. You pushed me, fam. How y'all doing? Y'all good? Hey, before we get started, man, show everybody who touched the stage some love. Show everybody some love, man. Also, show Big Bro Poetri and Juren some love too for putting this great event together.
thank them, man, because they asked me to do the show. And I said, first of all, I'll do whatever for poetry. That's my folks, man. They done loved on me since I first got out here and let me do their shows. I'm grateful. I said, but look, I've been doing some things in my life. I won an Emmy. I've been traveling all over the world, got my own TV show. I said, in order for me to do this show, I need specific things. They was like, whatever you want, Ron. I said, look, I need a band to open up the show, but I don't want to have a drummer. I want to be a dude playing a speaker box. They said, no drum set? I said, I don't want no drum set. I want to play a speaker box. They said, why? I said, just make it happen. They was like, all right, we'll figure it out. Also, I said, I need you to just have 12 people sit behind me and stare at me like a timeshare presentation. I don't want them to laugh. I want them to just look at me like the old white man from the Muppets that be in the balcony. I want them to stare at me. I let them talk, but I ain't buying that when he's done. Just give me like $300 resort voucher. That's all I want. They said, you sure? I said, make it happen. I said, also, if you can put a casket on the back of the stage, just in case my set gonna go good, I can just go get in the casket after the show is over. Just put a casket and lean it against the wall at the back of the stage. If you didn't see it, it's right there. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Speaking of gentrification, I live in Inglewood. Anybody been to Inglewood lately? Don't move too loud. I don't know if y'all know that, but white folks are taking over. The hood is officially gluten-free. I don't know if you've been there. It's not the same hood I grew up in. It's uncomfortable. Let me tell you something. Like, it's weird. Like, when white folks take over your neighborhood, they don't give you no email, no group bite, no brochure. They just show up. I had a show in Baltimore. I was gone for 2 days. 2 days. Came back on Sunday, and they built a whole Starbucks and the Trader Joe's at the Fox Hills Mall. I'm like, y'all ain't gonna... It was uncomfortable. I'm like, when y'all do this? They was like, we did it Saturday. I was like, what? And this one I knew was getting out of hand. I seen a white lady walking through my neighborhood at 1 o'clock in the morning, walking her dog. It was uncomfortable. But what made it really weird was me and a crackhead made eye contact across the street. He was sweeping the grass. I don't know why he was sweeping the grass, but we saw the white lady and got scared. We was like, he dropped the broom and ran in the house. I seen him run, I just ran too. I don't even know why. I immediately went home and changed my network password name to get out of here. So all my neighbors didn't know in the building. And it's weird too, when I first bought my place in Inglewood, it was frowned upon. People like, you buying a house where? Oh my God, what are you doing? Oh. But they love saying my neighborhood name. They be like, Inglewood? Up to no good? Now when I tell people I live at, they be like, Inglewood, it's a community. I'm like, don't do that, don't do that. You put some respect on my hood, don't do that. You say I would, I'm gonna chop you in the throat, don't do that. It's weird, they gentrified everything, even the Fox Hills Mall. Like, you got thugs working in Old Navy now. I seen a thug walk up to me with a cardigan on. He said, hey, when you one of these cardigans, homie, huh? One of these bardigans, homie? Get one of these bardigans, homie. They both go, buy one, grab one, homie, then get one of these bardigans. Buy one, grab one, what does that mean? These bardigans, homie. Gentrified everything. Even, they got something called the Ladera Center. It's the black little area where they got a bunch of black shopping centers. It was the blackest area in the neighborhood. They got, in the same shopping center, they got something called, we call it nigga raps. You can laugh, can't say it. They gentrified the raps in my neighborhood. It's uncomfortable. Employees speak to you now. They got marble floors, track lighting. When you walk past the vegetables, they got like a tropical storm, and you can hear thunder and lightning when you walk past the tomatoes, and they put sweat on them, and it hit me in the side of the mouth. I was overwhelmed. It was uncomfortable. Then they tried to distract me. They had a big old display of seedless watermelon. Come on now. First of all, how you make a seedless watermelon? They're trying to kill us black people. Stay woke. I'm trying to tell you. Anyway, I bought 7 of them, but that's not the point. And then it's uncomfortable, because then they gentrified the whole store, because everything that black people like is locked up in a case. The stuff that white people like, even on the alcohol aisle, everything white people drink, Scotch, whiskey, Jack Daniels, the stuff we don't touch, Pabst Blue Ribbon, you can walk down the aisle, touch it, and throw it in your cart. You can touch it and throw it right in your cart. But everything my people like is a huge case in the front of the store. You gotta go find somebody, walk 6 miles, and get a sales associate, and text somebody, and call a hotline to get somebody to open. Everything in the case that my people like is locked up in the case. You got Hennessy, Crown, Ciroc, grape soda, strawberry lemonade mix, pink lotion, shea butter, do-rags, the orange, Murray's grease, the orange can that don't rinse out. Ladies, the brown gel, and sisters, sister, you know what I'm talking about, the brown gel for your edges, the little toothbrush for your edges, you know what I'm talking about. The toothbrush with Frankie Beverly and Mays. Martin DVD cases, season 1 through 12. Love Jones CD. My grandma was in the case. Everything I love was in the case. It was disrespectful. The case is so big and disrespectful, I thought I was walking through a museum. It's uncomfortable. But this is one thing I learned, man, just over time. I realized that God loves black women. He do. You gotta clap, it's true. Listen. 3 claps, all right. He loves black women. Let me tell you why. Because God gave black women a heart that's never been seen on this planet. Their heart is made out of vibranium. It's true, like he really loved black women because he gave them a few things that he didn't give anybody else. Like he gave them a heart that's never been seen on this planet before. He gave them a heart to take care of the kids, the people that oppress them. Even in our own community, we don't do worry about black women, but they still see some of us and love us despite how we act. We don't deserve black women all the time, but they still see some of us. Also, he allowed black women to look the same age their entire life. Not even lying. This woman right here is 97 years old. Look at her face. She was born in 1912. Look at her face. It's 012. She went to school with Morgan Freeman. When she smiled, you don't see the little crow's feet. Like, she looks amazing. You don't know if she's 9 or 97. She looks like... Also, God loves black women so much, he gave them an ability that he didn't give her in the culture. He gave them an ability to isolate their torso. Have you ever seen a black woman twerk before? It's the most magical thing you have ever seen in your life. When you see a black woman twerk, you can see God's hand move on their life. When you see it, you're like, oh my God, thank you so much for allowing me to live during this generation to witness a black woman isolate their torso. It's the most magical thing. Because when they twerk, first of all, when they twerk, they look like they don't enjoy themselves, but they're having a ball. They be chewing their gum on their front teeth. And then they do a little pre-stripper kick. I don't know why they do this right here. It's like a warm-up. This is like, I'm getting ready to tear it up. And out of nowhere, her homegirl come out the bushes. And she be like, hey! She be like, they be so excited, but they can isolate. You gotta watch them isolate. It's amazing, because their torso don't move. This part stiff as the board. Belly button up, don't move at all. But the bottom part move. They look at their shoulder and check in and their butt. They be like, yes, girl. Won't they do it? It's the moment. It ain't even a won't they do it moment. But you're like, man, God, thank you so much. I really, like, dudes be like, put my camera in. Like, they be so amazing. But also, like, when white girls twerk, it's not as magical. Because God, he leave the room. He like, I'm cool. He said, I do miracles, I don't do magic. Because they can't isolate the same way. They don't really know, because they use their back. It's weird to try to describe it. You ever see, they use their back on. It's like watching a cat throw up. People watch a cat throw up, it's uncomfortable. Like, you ever see a cat throw up? The cat is crying. The cat got tears coming out their eyes, and you don't know the cat. You want to put your hand in it, you're like, I don't know this cat. It might be. It's weird. It feels like putting on hotel lotion. You put on hotel lotion, black people, we hate hotel lotion. We're like, I want to use it, but it don't feel right with my soul. I gotta mix it with Armor All and fish grease to make it stick. Y'all good? Okay. Anyway, I said all that to say, we're living in a time where racism is getting out of control, man. It is, because this is the thing. I ain't gonna say our president is racist. But every time I go to the bathroom, I feel like, ever since he got elected, the motion sensors don't work in the bathroom on black hands. You try to wash your hands and get some soap and it don't recognize you in a milli rockin' trying to... White dude next to the apple drops. Get away from me, black hands matter, don't touch me. It's uncomfortable, and this is the thing, like, I'm in a place in my life, the older I get, I'm scared and terrified of concerned white people. When white people get concerned, bad things happen to people like me and dark, like brown and black people. When they get concerned, you never know what's gonna happen. When they get concerned, somebody getting fired, somebody going to jail. Like, matter of fact, after I do this joke, I feel like somebody got up and went to go look for the manager, like, hey, what's going on? I'm concerned. They're gonna be pissed off with this joke and come back in 2 weeks, y'all, it's gonna be a Jamba Juice. I got a good feeling.
White folks get concerned, they shut some stuff down. You hear me? Somebody getting fired, somebody going to jail. You see? When you see a white person get concerned, you're like, hey, look, man, I just came here for some bread. My kids in the car. I don't want no problems. You ain't got to be concerned. And let me clear the air before I get uncomfortable in here. First of all, white folks, I'm not talking about all white people, okay? There's two kinds of white people. There's decent white people that have black friends. Few of them, they know black friends. They got black friends. They know the theme song, the Fresh Prince. They know a couple of Jay-Z lyrics. They're cool. They're decent people. You know what I'm talking about. And then you got the other ones. The other ones, the concerned white people, they hate this joke. They booty itching right now. They pissed off. What's going on here? I don't like it. He's making me feel guilty about something I didn't even do. And I don't. Hey man, that booty is itching. They'll snatch the cushion off the chair. What's going on? I don't like it, and I'm concerned. I'm telling you, you're gonna come back. It's gonna be a Carl's Jr. I'm telling you. I don't like it. What's happening? I don't even know what poetry is. My friend invited me, and I'm here, and I'm feeling guilty. I didn't come here for this. All lives matter. I'm pissed off right now. My booty get tight right now. I don't like it. What's happening? They're the ones that don't speak to you at work. You go to work and like them certain people that they give you that, I'm about to snitch on you look, they got that. Because like normal white folks, you speak to them, they say hello. The concerned ones, they give you a little fake smile, they hit their neck, they lose, they be like, hold on, look at my neck, hold on. Because they concerned. I don't like it, you're still doing this joke. I didn't come here for this, I came here for a poetry. Because this is the thing, let me tell you why I say that. Because when your neighborhood becomes gentrified, when you don't take the time to get to know other people, and you don't get to know the people, like there's certain nuances to moving in people's environment that you gotta understand before you move in. Because if you don't, it's gonna be a threat to you. And when you get concerned, we the ones that's gonna pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Like example, black folks who wear do-rags in public. We do. We ain't got no, you have a bald head and do-rag. That's what we do. Black folk, we laugh loud. That's what like we laugh loud. We extra people. We just extra. That's what we are. Cornrows, do-rags, like all that stuff is just stuff my people do. You know what I'm saying? Also, Mexicans don't take down Christmas lights, but that's just how it is. Okay? Ain't nothing wrong with it. Even crackheads, they ain't gonna kill you. They might rob from you, but they ain't gonna kill you. But if you don't understand that, it's a problem. What I'm learning is, that's true, but what I'm learning is, as black people, white folks don't do well with being uncomfortable. Like, as a person of color, from the time you're born to the time you die, you live uncomfortable so much that when somebody's nice to you, you feel like they're up to something. Like, what's uncomfortable is going to a job and somebody saying something slick to you, and it feel racist, and you gotta decide whether you wanna be a nigga or shut up and get that check so you can take care of your family. What's uncomfortable is going to a job during a Christmas party and a song come on with a dance to it, and all your white coworkers look at you because they want you to show them the dance. And you gotta decide whether you wanna be a nigga or gonna give them a little something. You like, all right, Steve. You gotta give them a little something because they don't think you're mean. Or what's uncomfortable is them coming up with the most poisonous word in the English language. And we take our own, the word that hurts us back and make it something powerful, and they get mad why they can't use it, and you like, nigga. Because what I'm saying is when white folks get concerned, bad things happen to other people. They don't care about who get hurt. Think about it. Charlottesville. Concern. Electing a president with no political experience. Concern. The fact that you gotta live in fear going to Starbucks because they can call the cops on you just because you showed up. Concern. And what I'm saying is, like I said, they don't do well being, like what happened was for me, I used to be an accountant before I started doing comedy. And I don't know if you know that feeling of being the only one in an office building. You feel invisible, you don't have a voice, and anything is a check mark against who you are. You can't get loud, you speak up, but it's a choice you have to make. They brought in a new guy in my department named Leroy, and he looked exactly how he sounded. He had cornrows, He had a nose ring, his suit was a little baggy. I'm like, he ain't gonna make it. Like, my spidey senses were tingling. I didn't know how long, I'm like, he not gonna make it. And then there was a lady named Susan McDougal. She looked exactly how she sounded. She looked concerned. She looked concerned, but she wanted his position because she thought she would get a promotion, and she had that look, and she told him, she was like, look, first of all, when they say we, they're like, hey, first of all, we have some concerns about this guy, Leroy. He smells like weed. He has those little urban locks. She didn't know how to say cornrows. He has little urban locks. And I'm concerned. I was like, I said, they're gonna fire him. I came back from lunch, he was gone. I was like, man, it was only one day. I came back to his office, I looked in his desk, and there was a do-rag in the trash can. I'm like, they got it, But what happened was I learned they don't do well with being uncomfortable. So what I did was, they don't. So I called her on it. I was like, first of all, could you fire Leroy, get Leroy fired because he was black? And when he get uncomfortable, they make the funniest sound on the planet. This is hilarious. I said, did you fire Leroy because he's black? She was like, me? Come on, God, no. I'm gonna do it again just for me. I'm sorry. I don't even care if y'all laugh. Cameraman, you got this? I don't even care if y'all laugh. I was like, look, did you get Leroy fired because he's black? She was like, me? Come on, God, no. I don't even see color. I'm like, your clothes match. I'm sorry. No. And I love doing that joke on purpose because I feel like it's my duty as a black man to like speak up on behalf of my people. Because what happened was, I'm not from South Carolina. I don't know if y'all been there before, but there's a city in South Carolina called West Columbia, one of the most racist places on the planet. I would, like late at night, I had to stop and get some gas, right? It was a pickup truck that pulled up next to me, like 1 o'clock in the morning. And they was like, what you doing on the side of town, old nigger? With the ER, they put a little extra on it too, so it's giving me nigger. And I turned around, I was like, what you say to me, bro? He said, you heard me, boy. What you doing on the side of town, old nigger? And I was like, whew, thank God, I thought you was concerned. Oh my God, I didn't know what was going on. That was uncomfortable. Oh my God. You know what? You two have a great night. Don't want any problems. Don't want to be a hashtag, you know? Bro, I'd rather the white person be mad at me than concerned. At least when they're mad, you know what you're saying. They call you word, you might not like you live, you go home. They're concerned, you don't know how it's going. And I do that joke on purpose, and I want people to be uncomfortable. Because, I'm wrapping up. I want people to be uncomfortable on purpose, because as a black man at this time, less than 2 grandmothers ago, we didn't have a voice at all. You know what I'm saying? And when you live in an environment where only one voice matters, you silence the people who live around you. And that creates an environment for racism. So because I have this platform, I feel it's important to share it. And whether you like it or not, that's not my concern. I just have to share my truth with you. And if you feel like I'm picking on you specifically, and these words are heavy, and they make you uncomfortable, imagine being black every day. Earl. Thank y'all. Please follow me, comedian R-O-N-G, comedian R-O-N-G. God bless you. Love you, boys.
Give it up. R-O-N-G. Before that was AQ. Before that was EBM. Alright, we're down to our final performance before we get out of here. So give it up one more time for yourselves for being here tonight. So I like telling this story. There's a bunch of people here who've never heard me tell this story, but like I said, I've known Poetri for 25 years, and I was with him the first time he ever ate vegetables. True story. We were in DC on tour. We went into a Bennigan's, and he asked for, anyone who knows him, he used to order chicken fries only. So he's like, yeah, chicken fries. And I'm like, dude, you just need to get some other shit to eat. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna try broccoli. I swear to God. So he switched his order to spaghetti. Oh, I forgot this. He never ate spaghetti before. This is what he said too. Never ate spaghetti. So he changed it to spaghetti and broccoli. And the lady's like, okay? And he goes, no sauce on the spaghetti.
And she's looking at her like, what the fuck you talking about? He goes, because if the sauce is good, then I'm gonna have to eat it all the time with the spaghetti, and then, so just no sauce. Can you just put like a little bit of butter or something on the spaghetti? So he had spaghetti with butter and broccoli. That's it. There's no more shit. I was like, what the fuck is this? So, yeah. He fucking, yeah, he never ate spaghetti again, but he liked the fucking broccoli.
No, I'm telling you, I've been with Poetri all around the world. We've been all around the world together. And the first time I get to spend a long amount of time, an extended amount of time with Poetri, there was a tour in 2000 called Slam America. And it was a Grand Marnier sponsored tour, and it was 30 cities in 30 days. And I winded up getting a sponsor that gave more money than was needed to stay on the tour for the full 30 days. So I brought Poetri, and we stayed on the whole shit for the whole 30 days. So I was with Poetri for a month, and we bunked together, and we were roommates for the whole shit. And I just learned so much shit about Poetri. And I'm gonna tell you one more nasty story about Poetri, and then I'll bring up the last poet so we get out of here. So, like I said, Poetri my best friend, and I've seen it all with Poetri. And this is one of my stories. I wish I could do this. So we were in, and Poetri, in Poetri, you know, this is all true shit. We were in Albuquerque, and we go to this party. It's a poetry party, which I'm not a fan of because poets get like crazy and it's just weird. So they go to the party, everyone's drinking. For anyone who knows Poetri and myself, we don't drink or smoke, so we're the only poets in this party not drinking and smoking. So everyone's getting fucked up. We're just like, we're joking with each other and playing around. And they have a pool. And we're like, oh, you know what, let's get in the pool. And all of a sudden, people start jumping in the pool naked. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. So then I see a little jacuzzi, and we go, you know what, I just put my feet in. We just sit with our feet in, just talking. And all of a sudden, people start coming into the jacuzzi naked. And they're like, you guys should get comfortable. And I'm like, nah, it's okay. I don't know y'all at all. And so Poetry's like, you know what, dude? Forget it. And he stands up. True story, don't lie. So if you know Poetry, you bring this shit up to him and shit. Takes off all his shit, and I see Poetry naked, and I was like, ah! And he gets in the fucking pool, in the jacuzzi, and he's just like, come on, dude. I'm like, no! Like, going back to the hotel, it was a fucked up, moment of our friendship. I was like, oh shit! It was so fucking crazy. But I will say this, Poetry's, we've been through a lot together, and I remember when he lived with D and they lived on Little Santa Monica, and I used to come get him to go out, and he had the piles of clothes. He would like wash clothes but never take them out the bags, so it'd be just piles of clothes all around the bag. So we've seen that. He was there when I met my wife for the first time. His mother, same thing. I remember his mom telling me, she was like, that's her, huh? She goes, better not let her go, right? And so Poetry has grown into not just being my friend, my brother, he's my family. And because I didn't grow up with any brothers, so he was my brother, even though I didn't have a, he was my brother. And so seeing him go through this, I want the best for him. I'm knowing he's gonna get his shit together and be on top of things and be back here telling jokes and fucking playing his games and doing the question games and all his stuff. And so, yeah, I say all that to say again, thank you very much for coming out here tonight and just celebrating what Poetry meant to all of us. And not in a, like I said, not in a down way. Not in a down way, because Poetry doesn't want it that way. Wouldn't want it that way. I don't want it that way. Blas is standing right there, just creepy. But, I'm gonna let Blas say what he's gonna say, and then I'm gonna bring these thoughts up. So go ahead, Blas. Give it up for Blas, yo.
I wrote this thing when Poetry had a stroke. I wrote this thing. We got our group got a group text, and it made me start thinking about like how we're all older now. We've all known each other over 25 years, like Shihan said. Poetry, Dante, Brother Jamel, Shihan. My emotions are kind of running away from me right now. My baby cousin Ariana's here. I'm going blank. InQ. all the crew from the Poetry Lounge that kept it alive when we first started it, and Poetri and Shihan and Jamel kept it going. Dante kept it going. Did it in his living room, then they took it to the Cabaret Theater, the Cahuenga Theater. It was like a Cabaret Theater on Cahuenga, and then they found this spot right here. And this has been the home for over 20 years of the Poetry Lounge. I grew up, I started doing comedy, I started getting paid really well. I grew up, I got married, I married the woman I've been with. I was with her for 16 years, we've been married for 36 years. We have 3 kids. My oldest is at UC Irvine. My second is a junior in high school, and I have a 9-year-old son. I think my son Alexander and Shian's youngest are about the same age. Shian also has 3 kids. Why I'm bringing this up is you grow up and you become adults and you become parents and your life changes. And a lot of people you see when you're in your 20s, you're with them every day, you're your best friend, you're sharing a hotel with them, you see them naked, stuff like that happens. But you grow up and you have families, and your family become important to you, and sometimes we don't see each other all the time. Sometimes I miss the Poetry Lounge picnics and by the way, Poetry Lounge has a picnic every summer, so if you don't know about it, you don't want to find out about it, it's fun. But sometimes I don't make it. But our kids grow up and we try and stay in touch. And NQ started the Actors Lounge. And we branched that off out of this. And we had actors coming in doing monologues and scenes. And it was just like the Poetry Lounge. I mean, we created a community of people that we grew up with and we loved and we shared. A lot of these people we've known over 25 years. Some of you guys, I don't even know your faces. Some of y'all over 40, I don't even know why you're here. But that's what we did. That's what they built. That's what the community they built. And why I'm bringing this up is because when this happened to poetry, it reminds me of my mother's family's getting older, my uncles and aunts. I lost an aunt and uncle last year within 5 months. They were in their 80s. And I see my family, we only see each other at funerals. We don't have these family reunions, And you sit there and you're talking, reminiscing about the person. They got pictures and collages and stuff like that. And I thought about it, and I've done a bunch of eulogies. I've done over 12 eulogies. And talked about people when they're not here. And I realized that every time I watch these memorials, we're talking about people that have passed on. And we're saying all these beautiful, wonderful things about people, but they're not here. They don't get to witness it. They're gone already, and you're going, man, we used to hang out. I love this dude. I love this dude. But you grow up and you move on. It's not move on, but you grow up and your lives take on other importance, so you don't see each other all the time. But this group of people from this community, 25 years, we're all still very close. We cannot see each other. I haven't seen Shion in a year, maybe a year and a half. Pick up the phone, you call each other. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? How's the family? How's the kids? How's everybody doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And you catch up right away, and nothing has changed. The relationship is solid, straight. And now here we go, my boy right here, Poe. One of the people you can learn life lessons from is the man is always happy. Anytime you see Poe, you can find out that nickels in his pocket. He be giving money to his kids in Juren, and they're trying to raise all this money, and they're doing things that they love to do. Maybe they make some money, sometimes maybe they don't, but they're always happy. You see them, they're always smiling, they're always happy. Hey, how you doing, boss? What's going on? How's the kids? How's the family? That's happiness. That's true happiness. You heard poems, you heard comedians talk about they don't need money to be happy. You don't. What you need is to be happy with yourself and the people that you're with, the loved ones that you're with. That's the reward. I just spent the last 10 years not making very much money. My wife's been making money, holding down the fort, going to work every day, killing it. And I'm being a stay-at-home dad. I'm coaching high school basketball and community ball, and I'm spending time with kids. I'm giving back. But I'm not getting paid a dime. I'm not getting me nothing. But that time I get with my kids, my 3 kids, all these kids I'm coaching, they got no parents. They got one parent. They ain't got no parent figure. But here I am helping to raise these kids. And that's a gift. That's the reward of life right there. That's what happiness is all about. That's what poetry is all about, what we do here. And a man like poetry, like what he does, that ripple effect that NQ talked about, the effect that he has when he meets people. What's the cat's name? The young kid that came in here. When I grow up, I want to be like poetry. That kind of effect that man has on you, that's the kind of love he has. That's the happiness right there. That's true happiness. He always has that big smile on his face. He always has that big bear hug. Whenever he talks to you, he's always spitting on you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, bro? We be talking about the kids. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about, bro. Yeah, speak on it, man. Speak on it. Because he got that little list. But see, now you know you're talking to poetry, right? You know you're talking to poetry. You're on the phone, you hear him, got that little lisp when you talk. Yeah, Bob, you know what I mean? And you know you're talking to a real man. You know you're talking to a man who loves what he does. He loves every day with his kids, every day with his wife. He loves life. And that's why I'm saying to myself, I'm sitting there, I'm writing this thing, and I'm going, I don't want to talk about Poe like he's not here. I don't want to, when Poe's gone, I don't want to show up and see all my friends and stuff. I want to see Poe. I want Poe to watch this. I want to see, when I see Poe, everything we say to each other, I want to say it out loud. I want to look in your eyes. I want to say it in your face. I want to say, man, I love you, man, I miss you. Are you good? You good? All my friends, the first thing we say is, how's the family? How are the kids? That's your real friends. Those are your real friends. People that go, hey, bro, can you do me a favor, man? Hey, man, why don't you help me with this thing, man? I'm working on this project. Dude, you ain't seen it in a minute. Oh, man, I did this movie. I did this movie. Yo, we happy for you. But how you do? How's your life? How your kids? You know what I mean? That's your real people in your life. Those are the kind of people that make you feel good about being a human being. You know what I mean? Those are the people you wake up and you think about. You ain't talk to them a minute, you pick up the phone, hey, what's up, Paul, what you doing? Oh man, we're trying to put it down, I'm doing this, doing that, I love you, how's the kids, how's the family? You know what I mean? Those are the people you give your heart to. A man like that man right there, Poetri. And I just wanted to share that, because when they're not here, you can say all you want, but when they're here, you need to say what you want. You need to say how you feel. You need to express yourself and tell them. Like right now, everybody turn to your right. Turn to the person next to you. Just turn the person next to you. And just look at them. Look at them. Maybe you know, maybe you don't. Put your arm around them like Daddy did. Put your arm around the person next to you. Put your arm around the person. Put your left arm around the person next to you. There you go. Now turn to that person. Turn to that person. Look them in the eye and say, I love you. Say, I love you. Mean it. Mean it like you mean it. Say, I love you. Now give him a little hug. Give him a little hug. Let's squeeze. Now borrow $5, $10 from them. They're your family now. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say. Be happy with you, just like our brother Poetri is always happy with himself. Give it up for Poetri one more time. We love you all. You're better so we can see you soon.
Alright, so since Juren just texted me, so I'm going to tell y'all one quick thing about that, and then we'll get these last 3 poets up to the stage. So, for those who know the story, who don't know the story of Juren and Poetri, it goes like this. So he's, you know, y'all know him as being married, but this is how it went down. It's like, dude, this girl keeps coming to the lounge and following me around. And she keeps calling me. And I'm like, why don't you just go out, dude? Just ready, dude? He's like, yeah, but she keeps calling though. So he winds up going out, and then the next day he calls me and goes, it was dope. It was really good. And so they started dating, and I remember they moved to New York, and he called me, and he goes, I'm gonna ask her to marry me. And on Valentine's Day of that year, it was 03, 02 or 03, is when he asked her. And I'm like, see, and you were like, this motherfucker won't stop following me. Now, you're gonna follow each other forever. You know what I'm saying? All this shit is wonderful. So, we got these last 2 poets coming up to the stage. We're gonna get out of here, so please put your hands together for food for thought, y'all. Give it up for food for thought.
Peace, family. I will not be long, but I will be strong. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, but I would like to say briefly is that when I first met Poetri, I came to the lounge. I was in the streets pretty tough. And with that being said, one of my best friends had got murdered. And I came to speak. Didn't sign a list or anything like that. Saw Poetri and was like, man, I need to get down. I need to get this off my chest. If not, I'm gonna go get down. Like, that's how I felt. And he looked me in my eyes and he felt what I felt. And he allowed me to speak. I never will forget that. I never shared that with Poetri. Talon know, a lot of people know that story, but That, I never forget that. I love him for loving his family, as Evie said. And just to bring it full circle, my friend that got murdered in Watts on 113th in Wilmington, his name was Devin Smith. Yes, yes. Wow. Frederick Douglass once said, it's easier to build strong children rather than repair broken men. Poetry has done both. So y'all give it up for poetry. I come from a small tribe of prolific purple people poets that dance barefoot to a bucktooth organ played by a one-eyed piccolo player with 8 fingers and 3 toes, tambourines and sound bowls, echoes, sentiments of midwives to lost souls, clothed in hemp leaves and kente cloth-covered pens that will write you down to sleep in Africa from an east side Watts back street. Shuffling a deck of mystical chords with no joker and all queens, singing swing low, sweet chariot while churning roasted duck stuffed with dressing and lima beans. These purple poet people talk I-lingo through rubbing alcohol sniffs. It can read your fortune from great-granddad's back wheel. My mama say poet, my mama say poet, you got same gift. Can whip air into full-course meals, move hills and cliffs with a stare. I said, please, mama, tell me more. Her say, if you live long enough, more would tell you. Roll them dice, boy, don't let them roll you. I said, mama, please tell me more about the poet. She said, poets come from behind the earth, in front of the sun. They wormhole hop with ancestral beings. They wear their turbans like Moors, Buddha, Yahshua. You are a Gnostic poet that's gonna ghost ride the magic carpet down Crenshaw. Poetry's infectious smile symbolizes he see God in you, trusting you see it in yourself. The moon reflects poets' perfect imperfections. Cigarettes and whiskey was used to smudge and libate my childhood aura. I am a young, pop-locking disciple of Watts, sidestepping booby traps, saving cats caught in the tree of life, painting, writing, poetry created the in this moment. He's gonna reverse the curse, hook sliding this lounge into a no direction. Pay attention, young poet. He been here before, and if you blink, you'll miss him. He loved, gave, wrote, talked about, been talked about. The God whispered into a shout, and in his quiet, you're reminded that only poetry lasts forever. I said, Mama, please tell me more. She said, if you live long enough, more would tell you. Write them poems, boy. Don't let them write you. Young sap from nectar's purple. Allow your bloom to feel the illusion of your fear. And purple is way back to your stretch, receiving vitamin D from the sun in the language of poetry. And then you would know why. You come from a small tribe of purple poets that dance barefoot to a bucktooth organ played by a one-eyed piccolo player with 8 fingers and 3 toes, tambourines and sound bowls, echoes, sentiments of midwives to lost souls. My mama says, still no one, my son, and never forget to write poetry from your soul. Purple people. My good brother that I go way back with, I'm glad that I'm bringing him up. Y'all give it a real big for Talam AC.
I was hoping he was going to forget to introduce me so I could tease him later, you know. I won't say, I'm not going to talk a lot about poetry beforehand and try to keep the poem to around 40 minutes or so. And I first met poetry in Chicago in the 90s. It was with Sheehan, and I was happy that it was with Sheehan because, you know, I've got like dark tendencies and got like vice issues. I've improved over the years.
but Poetri was like a real sweet guy. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Real nice person. And it was like hard for me to even believe it because I was from Jersey and it just wasn't a lot of, sweet people. So it was good that Shihan was there because Shihan is like a hybrid. You know what I mean? So he could kind of translate, so that was when I met her. And my best memories are not just in the lounge, but going to Gower, to the Denny's after the lounge, and we'd all sit around and talk. A lot of people you saw on the stage tonight and more. And I know, man, he would do poems. I mean, I'm doing poems about all kinds of things, like killing your baby daddy or something. And he's doing poems about Michael Jackson and Krispy Kreme donuts. And I used to be like, oh, is he serious? Can somebody be this nice, And Juren, I was just in with that Juren I met here, but I knew her mostly from, we kind of split into two different families, so she went to like Green, and she was working the door, and she was so sweet, and I would say the same thing about her, so it's just beautiful that these two people got together that always made me think, are they for real? What if this is God's work?
Yeah.
As for the present, I'm a Jessica Selgado, Bertrand Boyd, Jacob Mabry, K-Love, Icon Sibley, Jasmine Mans, 5-ology fan. And why not? Talam Macy, been 6 o'clock, baby. And I still recall being enthralled by the youngest black-on-black Brown members. And I remember turning 5 in 1975, reading Harlem Renaissance poets. And I remember turning 6 in 1976, reading black arts poets. And I remember turning 7 in 1977, listening to Oscar Brown Jr., Gil Scott-Heron, and the Last Poets. And by the time I was balling on center court, I'd already spent over a quarter of a century learning how to pivot and handle this rock. So who was that young man trying to understand and watch prophets while staring idly at his cereal box? And I will not discuss my accolades. I did whatever they said I did. And whoever I is, the extent to which a dilettante only knows about spoken word from watching television shows is the extent to which you'll probably never even know that I ever lived. But if this is your first time hearing me, I pray that I'm an epiphany. And the definition of an epiphany, of course, is Sekou Sundiata. I said, the definition of an epiphany is Patricia Smith. I said, the definition of an epiphany is Kamal Daoud. I said, the definition of an epiphany is June Jordan. I said, the definition of an epiphany is Kalamu Yasalam. I said, the definition of an epiphany is Wanda Coleman. I said, the definition of an epiphany is Etheridge Knight.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to talk to you about life because they got me messed up. In their last presidential election, they guilted me into voting for a woman who hates black men's guts, whose husband pushed legislation to destroy our families by increasing the number of black and brown men who get locked up. And if you ask him now, he'll say it was a mistake, so I guess we could all only just hope for his sake that he at least continues to get dividends and kickbacks from the prison industrial complex. It's subterfuge. And now we gotta watch this self-destructive dude who used to hang out in hip-hop clubs with black athletes and rappers all of a sudden change his whole style up, and now he's been recrafted as the back-assed emperor of the masses of poor self-sabotaging pro-fascist crackers. And the president before him secretly disgraced Africa, increased imperialism and the number of secret US bases in Africa, sucked the oil and the minerals like coltan for the world's cell phones from Africa, and further destabilized economies, but he was popular, attractive, and black, so I guess we're just gonna go and skip over that. And I wonder if it'd be wrong to advocate for all the fathers whose children were killed by unpunished police to just go ahead and skip the television talk show interview and a nationwide speaking tour and a book release and instead just demonstrate to the beast that Black Lives Matter. And the only way that the cognitively dissonant could be convinced that Black Lives Matter. And the only way that our ancestors to be venerated, Black Lives Matter. And the only way that Providence will receive our souls, Black Lives Matter. And as for you, I just hope you hold on. And in time, I hope you find something I may have said that helps to bring eloquent words to something that burns in your heart and in your soul and in your mind. Because what if this is God's word? What if real poets walk the earth and live lives fit for a prophet's verb, spreading ancient wisdom like the Coptic church, and those that know what they're hearing, know that they're hearing something special. And perhaps eventually a poet will be sent here just to bless you. Test you in this world of lies, and if you feel your eyes cry, it'll be because they recognize that what they're seeing is the truth. And the chills of your spine provide absolute proof that in this now, where politicians and clergy have proven themselves unworthy of your time, and television shows and music videos have proven themselves unworthy of your mind, don't be surprised that God can be found in poetry dens. God and poets' pens, not just those men who pretend to be closer to God than you by making you ashamed of your sins and the lives they've lived may not have been what God intends for your salvation. What if this is God's work? What if the Creator realized that the creation isn't perfect but only wishes for us to worship sincerely, to not be hypocrites but to really be concerned about our fellow man, to stand up against injustice is falsely perpetuated in God's name in foreign lands? What if this is God's work? What if the poets are closer to Muhammad, Buddha, and Jesus than the preachers? I said, what if the poets are closer to Muhammad, Buddha, and Jesus than the preachers? I mean, think about it, y'all. Which of us are living closer to the streets and which of us are living closer to Caesar? Which of us are living high up in the hog and which of us are the poor righteous teachers? What if this is God's work? And if so, then poetry is sacred. So ye poets to be concerned when you step up on this stage with and be on your job, because if this is God's work, then stealing from another poet is the same thing as stealing from God. And it's not about your use of sexuality or profanity. It's about whether you use your tools for eyes and moves, or whether you use your tools to improve humanity. What if this is God's work? And the little blasphemers have hell to pay, so I wouldn't say anything at the spoken fundraiser that I wouldn't be comfortable repeating on Judgment Day. What if this is God's work, y'all? Let us pray. Yeah. Coming up next, give it up for my man, Stay Cool and Misfit.
Yo, my name is Sekou Andrews, aka Sekou the Misfit. I represent the Sanitarium. Sanitarium is a place where crazy people come to get sane. And that's what this spoken word does for you and your mental health. And when I shout out the call of the Sanitarium, y'all holler back, cuckoo! Yo, that's how we started every time I touch stage at the lounge at the very beginning. And of course, as you heard at the very beginning, poetry is a part of all of our beginnings, the genesis of so much of what we do now. And you heard a lot of poetry stories. I'm gonna tell you mine that was just sparked by Talam saying, you know, what is stealing from another poet is the same as stealing from God. One of my favorite poetry stories ever was after I had quit my last job. I've been a full-time poet for 15 years, and the last job I had was a full-time elementary school teacher. And I quit my job and I started touring, you know, my poetry full-time, and I think I was in Chicago, and my phone started blowing up. And everybody was calling me, yo, everybody, like literally everybody was calling me. I think I got a message from NQ. I know I got like hit up by Poetry, Juren, and they were like, yo, somebody just came to the lounge and spit your shit. And it was, I wasn't gonna call you out. I wasn't even gonna call you out. That's your bad. And what was funny, so when I got the story, they were like, yo, so this girl came and she started doing what her bag, because she did probably at the time my most signature, most iconic piece called When I Grow Up at my home poetry venue. Like she fucked up. So she, like, as she was spitting it, like everyone was kind of like, oh, this sounds, and then like another 30 seconds it was like, this is poem. And then like another 30 seconds everybody was like, hold on. And you can hear all the chimes and everything. So then what I heard was that Poetry came up and he was like, because you know, sweet guy, right? Like you said. So he wasn't going to put it on blast. Benefit of the doubt. He came up and he was like, yeah, give it up for her, right? Yeah, that was good. So you wrote that? And she was like, yeah. He was like, wow, that's awesome. How did you come up with that? She was like, well, you know, just one day I was just thinking about it. And he was trying to give her like a chance to be like, I was inspired by, you know what I mean? Like to come clean. Nothing. She was just straight, it's my shit. Stealing from God, right? So then at that point, Poetry was like, I'm sorry, no, man, I'm sorry. He was like, that poem was written by one of our home poets here, Sekou the Misfit. And then everybody was like, oh, was sitting there reciting the whole shit as you wrote it. Of course, you don't cuss, so he didn't say shit, but you got the point, right? So I thought it was dope because here I am, you know, half a country away, and this community in this room, without me being here, was looking out for me, you know, had my back and was making sure that they represented for me. And I thought that was such a beautiful moment, you know, to remind me of the family that I got no matter where I am, which is why I think this is such a beautiful moment right here, because think about how amazing it is for you to get sick and to have this many people show up and support a fundraiser, and you ain't even here. Like, you ain't even here, but you don't have to be here for us to be here for you. So I appreciate you, Poetri and Juren, for everything that you built and allowing us to keep this going and let what you built continue to build for you. This is the piece that you requested, Juren, so let's get into it. Oh, lesson, where are you? Come, show yourself before I do. Something that I'm sure you would have told me not to. I'm trying to learn you, but it's so hard to. Oh, lesson, where are you? Come, show yourself before I do. Something that I'm sure you would have told me not to. I'm trying to learn you, but it's so hard to. I feel like I should have my own book in the Bible. Like perhaps it saves you. You know, turn now to chapter 1, book 1, verse 1, book of Sekou. Let it take you to places beyond hard and cursing, to soothe scars and hurt, and to prove God is working in mysterious ways, curious ways. Keeps my serious days from consuming me in a furious blaze, because I keep hearing this rage bubbling within, covering the grand, smothering the winds. You know, the trouble is men standing in the way of me and my destiny. Half of me is already at the finish line, waiting for the rest of me, tasting every recipe, simmering the broth and squeezing lemon in the sauce and pleasing women at a cost and end up swimming till I'm lost. But luckily, I saw Slim up in the spot, and his words were, remember, to give in is not to give up. He told me to surrender. He said it won't be easy, but don't let it make you hard. He said the mumbling of madmen may sound odd. He said extracting wisdom from those words, that's your job. I told him that your words sound remarkably like God's. It's amazing how many endless tears pain will make, right? It's amazing how they can just rain and make a lake of shame and hate, have you staying awake, weeping like you laying in mace, praying for grace, hoping saltwater streets don't stain your face. It's amazing how I can make the same mistakes, how I can make the same mistakes, how I can make the same mistakes, simple and plain mistakes. I need a manual to explain my fate, because this mortality sucks. But the wrong immortality ain't nothing to fuss with. It's amazing how little my bucks get. I mean, a whole paycheck gone and still 6 bills left. Half a month remains and only 6 meals left. Is this the real test of my emergency broadcast system? Listen. Sounds more like my heartbeat's missing, replaced by demon screams beneath God's presence while I'm gutting out the whale's belly, looking for my lesson. Come, oh lesson, where are you? Come, show yourself before I do. Something that I'm sure you would have told me not to. I'm trying to learn you, but it's so hard to. You told me to lift any stone, and you be there. Now I'm walking with boulders across ocean floors, still wondering where. I waited outside your tomb for 2 days. Fell asleep on the 3rd. Missed my chance to holler at you. Now all I got is these words that have been interpreted by the demons in man. for the most fiendish plans imaginable, expecting to be redeemed in your land, but I know better, so I'm gonna fix my life now. The question is how? I'm gonna fix my life now. The question is how? My feet bloody, still trying to smile for the child or teen looking to me to inspire their dreams when I can't seem to sing anymore without choking, without whole being. I don't slip and spit and just tell them to quit and say your life won't have spit and just hope it'll pass quick. But you always seem to block my destructive path with a poet masked as an accident that passes a poem to me at an open mic that says, turn right instead of turning left. Perhaps avoiding an early death. But is it even such thing as an early death? Or an accidental injury, if fate is the puppet master for life's every entity? Did I miss some true love of my life that you sent to me just because you made me too stupid to know it was meant to be? Did I waste my life trying to bless these lives with poetry? Did I waste my life trying to rock millions when I was meant to just save 3? Did you make me as good as these other cats that spit just to have me sit on some humble kick and watch them get rich? Are you that sick? Do you sit up there and just laugh and taunt? Is this supposed to be you loving me? I mean, what do you want? What was I supposed to learn from losing my pop? Or watching her drown? Or falling in love with that girl just to have her mess around? Is this supposed to make me strong? Because I don't feel stronger. Perhaps you miscalculated. Because I can't last much longer. I'm pulling bloody stakes out my wrists and thorns out my hair. Are we almost there yet, God? Are we almost there? Oh, listen. Where are you? Come, show yourself before I do. Something that I'm sure you would have told me not to. I'm trying to learn you, but it's hard. And what happens? What happens when we walk to the end of the earth? Will it end all the hurt? Will I be sent through the worst just to begin a new verse? Will my sins be dispersed, or will my soul's injuries lurk? As my body re-enters the dirt, will it surrender the thirst for the poisons of these times that misalign minds and diminish shines and thin the line between the divine and the malign? And when my heart resigns, will I find that I recline prematurely? Will I be told that my life was not lived purely? I mean, surely you jest if you expect that I could correct what's biological. If I could perfect mortality, then would this not be paradoxical? Is it my fault that illogical is my perception of your moves, yet my lack of rejection of your truths and my acceptance of you? Doesn't that prove that I paid my dues? And I'm ready to begin. Well, to transcend, to finally know how this episode ends. But when I turn that last bend, will I be in the company of friends or the demons I tried to hide from you within? Guess that's why my mama said, forget the destination, baby. You just appreciate the journey. So now I'm walking with Jaha, walking with Talam, I'm walking with Rudy, I'm walking with Shehan, I'm walking with Steve Connell, I'm walking with NQ, I'm walking with Andrew, I'm walking with Dante, I'm walking with Blas, I'm walking with all these family members, just looking for lessons to be learning, because I got no more chances. Hell, I can wait to die to get answers, or I can teach a child to smile right now and learn 3 new dances. I can teach a child to smile right now and learn 3 new dances. Oh, lesson. Thank you.
Give it up and say cool. So the last final announcement is Poetri just texted me, said that's a great show. Thank you so much for coming out, and I love you. That was for me, sorry. I love you, man, was for me. Some years ago, I started saying I love you to my guy friends as well, because I grew up with my father, and it was important hearing, and I think it's important for us to tell each other we love each other, especially dudes, because you don't hear it from other dudes like, man, she's gay. Like, no, I love you. Like, it's important for you to know that, and not as a joke, or as some passing stuff. So, him sending that was good. And yeah, they said it was a great show. Thank you so much. I love you, man. He said, oh, it just went out. Ah! The live stream just went out. He said, is it still going? So yeah. So here's what it is. So this is the end of the show. If you're interested in donating further to Poetri and the family, there is a GoFundMe that they have online that you can find out, that you can go to. Just GoFundMe, Poetri Smith and the Smith family. Also, you can cash out Juren directly if you want to do that, because I know some people felt some kind of way about GoFundMe taking 10% of the money when they can give that directly to the family. So if you want to do that, I could give that information to you after. And actually, I think I have it on here, and I can tell you exactly what it is. It is for the GoFundMe for Juren directly is, oh shit, I don't know where the fuck it went. After, when this shit is over, you can come see me. Also, we'll have it up on the Poetri Lounge, all our social media, so you can do that as well. And the final thing.
For Cash App, it's Spoken Funk.
Oh, Spoken Funk. How fucking easy is that shit?
Yeah, and PayPal is also Spoken Funk.
There you go. Spoken Funk. Just all one word. Spoken Funk. Spoken Funk. Spoken Funk. Not no weird spelling like the regular spelling. I'm trying to spell it special. It's Spoken Funk. SPOKENFUNK. Just for motherfuckers like spoken with an I and openness. Alright, so the final thing I will say about poetry. So one of the reasons we're even in this theater here, which I think is an important story that we don't tell often, but we tell it every year when our anniversary comes, is that we're in this theater because of poetry. So when we were at the Cabaret Cafe, which was a theater space we were in before here, we were having issues with the owner who was like trying to get us to charge, and at the time we felt like it was important to have free spaces for people to share, so we weren't charging. And one day we showed up at the spot, and he put up a sign that said, the Poetri Lounge will now be charging $3 a night, blah, 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 on behalf of Shihan, Poetry, Dante, and Jamal, and he wrote our names on it. And poetry at the time was, so y'all know poetry now. When I met poetry, he was like basketball playing and shit, and he was a point guard. So when you see him like now, you're like, you were a point guard? He was a point guard. So he was a point guard, and he used to always play basketball at the Hollywood YMCA. Right. And one of the people he met there was Pearson Blakes, who is the co-artistic director of Greenway Court Theatre. And at that time, Pearson was like, we're building a new theater, and we'd love to have this space here. We'd love to have y'all move in with us. And so Pearson came to the Poetri Lounge when it was over in Cabaret and was like, if you guys need a new space, we're opening this new space. And literally we closed down that night. We didn't even have the lounge that night when that flyer went up there. And 2 weeks later, we opened here on June 2nd, 2000. So we've been here since June 2nd of 2000. And the big reason is because poetry, of course, and I imagine him playing basketball, you know, when Pearson was like, and then they fucking ended up here. You know what I'm saying? So, for free. Yeah, right? And so.
He's an amazing basketball player, by the way.
That's Pearson in the back, So I should tell you that. Poetry was a very good basketball player. And he, for those who don't know this is a true story too. He had a full ride scholarship to play basketball at Knoxville College. And guess how he got kicked out and lost his scholarship? For fighting. Y'all didn't even know that shit. So next time you see poetry, you go, yo, I heard you got kicked out of school for fighting? Because it's so not believable, but it's the truth. It is the truth. And D left, so I can't even like get her to vouch for it. He was at Knoxville College, got in a fucking fight, and got kicked out of school, and then full-time poetry. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking brains. The fucking Venus brains down this shit. So, thank you very much one more time.